Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now, today's first story comes from TA Beach Hubby 1324 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, titled Am I the Arsehole Here for talking to a girl in a bikini on a beach. My wife, 35 female, is making me, 37 male, write this post. She feels my behavior during our vacation was completely inappropriate. Well, I think that it was completely acceptable and she is wrong. She loves this subreddit and wants for all of you to weigh in on our debate and solve this issue for us. We've been married for 7 years and have a 3-year-old toddler. A few weeks ago, we went to Miami for a vacation and had a fun time. On the second day on the beach, we were relaxing on the beach chairs. My son and I were playing on the beach, while my wife was soaking in the sun. I must add here that I love her very much, and she is the most beautiful person I've ever laid eyes on. At one point, my son wanted to build a sandcastle, and I took him to the wet sand near the water with all his plastic toys. While he was playing, a lady, mid-30s, walked up to us and told me how cute my son is. I smiled and said thanks. She was looking towards the water constantly, and I think her kids must be in the water and she was watching them. Now, according to my wife, she was wearing a completely inappropriate, over-the-top bikini that left nothing for the imagination. According to me, I did not notice what she was wearing and have no comments. She was trying to make small talk and was asking me about my son's name, how old he is, where we are from, etc. I was also polite and had a brief conversation with her. We talked about where we are from, how long we're in Miami, etc. Finally, my son had enough and he wanted to go back. So I said bye and came back and sat next to my wife. The whole conversation may have lasted for less than 10 minutes. My wife was not happy with me talking to this lady. She kept on telling me how inappropriate it was to talk to that girl in the tiny bikini, and that she was trying to flirt with me. I told her what we talked about, and it was not even remotely flirty. I told her that this is common. When my son is with me in the park or other places, he gets a lot of attention from other mums. They always come and have a chat. My wife has seen this play out before and never had a problem with it. My wife thinks that this is different because that girl was in a very revealing bikini, and I, as a married man, should know better than talking to her. We saw that lady a few other times during our stay, and I cut our conversation short every time she tried to talk to me. My wife cannot let this go. She thinks that I should admit that it's different to talk to a girl in a social setting versus when she is in a bikini on a beach. I feel having small talk with someone is fine, irrespective of their state of dress or undress. So dear Reddit forum, please settle this debate for us. Is my wife correct that I'm the arsehole for talking to a girl when she is wearing a bikini? Or is she being unfair to that lady when she was wearing an appropriate outfit for the place where she was? Note that my wife will also be reading the replies, so please be nice when telling her how wrong she is. So the wife did leave a comment as well and says, I think he wrote this post omitting key details. The girl on the beach was clearly flirting and leaning too close to him. She may not have said it explicitly, but you could see she was interested. She also kept on popping up in resort restaurant, bar and lobby after this incident and tried to keep talking to him through the week. It was disrespectful as she did not say a single word to me the whole time. I'm not saying my husband was flirting with her, but he should have read her body language and shut her down. Plus, there is bikinis and there was her bikini. Something with her was clearly off. Now personally, I can't see Opie being the arsehole in this situation. I mean, what was he meant to do anyway? You know, you're on the beach, you're playing with your son, woman comes up to you, starts chatting away. Of course you can be polite and just have a conversation with her. What's he meant to do? Just block her out? No, I'm not talking to you. You're in a bikini. My wife's not gonna like that. What was wife expecting Opie to do in that situation? And Opie clearly adores his wife. He's got no intentions of flirting back with her or anything like that. He was just chatting away, playing with his son at the same time. I mean, he handled it in the best way possible, I think. But Lilac Rosa says, not the arsehole. I've been married 37 years. Your wife should let this go. You are not trying to pick the woman up. You're at the beach. If anything, she should feel good that someone else thought you might be attractive. If your wife is half as beautiful as you say, then she has plenty of guys talking to her regardless of what she is wearing. Again, she should let it go. Otherwise, both of you are going to start monitoring each other's conversations with the opposite sex. This is a slippery slope. Engel says, I would say don't go to Miami on vacation if you don't want to see women in sexy bikinis who may or may not talk to your husband. Another commenter says, my wife finds it hilarious when, according to her, other women try to flirt with me because I'm completely oblivious, and she knows that 1, I had no idea, 2, I'd never cheat on her, and 3, I honestly don't have the energy for that nonsense. Too true. Not the arsehole. Your wife needs to chill. Ed says, I've always been completely oblivious to women trying to flirt with me. Looking back now, a huge facepalm at some of the signs I missed. A friend invited me to dinner at her place, was nicely dressed, cooked me a meal, casually dropped the line that she was wearing no underwear, and I was like, oh, okay, friendo. My poor wife shamelessly chased me for months. Also did the invite me over to cook for me thing. And I was just grateful that this crazy attractive friend of mine was being so friendly. She was about to give up, so her best friend got in touch and told me what was going on. From there, I took over. Phew. Another commenter says your wife is going to have a stroke after this. This is not going the way she wanted at all. A reply to that says, she doesn't love this sub anymore. Lol. And AWAC says, no responses from OP either. Household tension must be rising. Edit. Oh dear, the wife has now hijacked his own post to try and explain further, which definitely hasn't helped her case at all either. Lol. Learning lots about OP's wife. So of course, OP's wife does respond. And the wife says, I'm the wife in this situation. My husband and I posted a debate we were having for the last week regarding an incident that happened during our vacation. I got it after the first 100 responses that I was wrong. Not everyone on Reddit needs to chime in on this one. I thought this forum would back me up, but I guess I need to take this L like a champion. I'm blessed to have a loving and caring husband and an amazing kid. I'm also used to women flirting with him all the time. It's not just when our son is with him, but it's happened at his work, bars, weddings, and other places. The worst was when I was giving birth to our son, and the nurse helping with the birth told him that hair looks like Prince Charming. It was 6 AM in the morning and he had just woken up, followed by telling him our son is so lucky that he got his blonde hair and blue eyes. The worst part is he is not very perceptive when women flirt with him. He thinks that most women go around talking to strangers and compliment them on their looks, because that is his life experience. And I tried to tell him that. He always gets very defensive. I do trust him with all my heart though, and he's the best husband ever. Some of you asked me what happened from my perspective. I know there is no way for me to not seem like an arsehole when I write this, but this is what I saw. We were all enjoying our time on the beach. My son wanted to run around and my husband volunteered to watch him and let me relax. I was enjoying the ocean and occasionally watching them. At one point, I saw my husband and son sitting on the sand and a lady talking to them. No problem, she's just a passerby and noticed my toddler. I close my eyes and after 5 minutes I see again, and now this lady is sitting next to my husband and they are talking. I also noticed she was extremely attractive and of course I got a bit insecure, since I have a mum bod now. She's laughing at God knows what my husband said. At this point I started getting curious as I was waiting for my husband to look towards me. He finally got up after my son was bored and came running back to me. I asked my husband who the person was, and he just said, just some mum on the beach having a small talk. I asked him what you guys were talking about, and he said the same things he wrote here. I told him she was gorgeous, and did he notice what she was wearing? He looked again at her and said, oh, yeah, that's pretty bold. The whole incident rubbed me the wrong way. Then this lady kept on popping up everywhere we went, and we met her every day. My husband introduced me to her the first time we saw her, and she just walked right past me and started talking with her. I then told my husband I was not comfortable with how his new girlfriend, I was teasing him, and my husband then immediately blew her off the next time she showed up. When we came back, I told him about my insecurity when I saw him talk to her, and she was sitting next to him. He again got defensive and told me that he was just being polite. This was when I told him not to talk to gorgeous mums in bikinis. He felt I was attacking him, but I could not help what I felt and was just communicating it to him. This was the silly debate we were having, and I thought you guys would have my back. Anyways, I will try to work on my insecurities and let him talk to mums in bikinis. One PSA is please don't comment on that thread anymore and tell him how right he is. You guys are feeding the beast. Last night, he was sending me links to frames on Amazon because he wants to print out this thread and put it on the wall. He says it's his first win against me, and the next time we have a disagreement, he can point to it and tell me about the time when thousands of people told me I was wrong. So, a couple of top comments from that post. First one says, from what I gathered from both posts, your husband loves you very much. Incorrect says, this lady is lucky. Apparently she has a super hot but loyal and understanding man. Either ad says, note that my wife will be reading the reply, so please be nice when telling her how wrong she is. Then says, the legend himself. Particular title says, in quotes, the worst part is he is not very perceptive when women flirt with him. And says, that's a lot of men. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story is one that we have covered in the past, but it's got a brand new update on it as well. So please feel free to use the timestamps if you want to skip certain parts of it. It's from The Midnight Stylist, and it's titled, Am I the Arsehole Here for Siding with My Brother-in-Law After He Used My Brother's Divorce Against Him? And before we do get into it, there's quite a few warnings on this one, so I do want to give you them just in case you want to skip it. There is talk of misogyny, sexual and physical abuse, domestic violence, religious abuse, accusations of pedophilia as well. A whole bunch there, so please feel free to skip it if you want to. And it starts off with some context and background. My 28 female sister, 24 female, has been dating her boyfriend, 36 male, for 2 years. My brother, 38 male, is newly divorced. He was married since he was 18 to his ex-wife, 38 female. We don't really know why they divorced. It was sudden, and his ex-wife took their 2 kids and flew back to her hometown. After the divorce was finalized, my brother had to pay her a lot of money. I don't know the details as he's kept it under wraps, but my sister and I found it very weird. My sister's boyfriend is kind of known too. He's often in the media for political reasons. He and his organization are very activist driven. My parents and brother are super conservative and religious, so when they found out who he was, they didn't like him. I'm just going to call her boyfriend, brother-in-law to make it easier. My parents decided to have a family dinner and invited all of us. My brother-in-law is respectful and veers away from political discussions because he knows it's just going to end in an argument. Well, after the dinner was over, my brother and father were at the table discussing women's rights. For some reason, while me, my sister, mum and brother-in-law were in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner. Somehow my brother was able to get brother-in-law wrapped up in this debate and it turned into a full-blown argument. Brother-in-law was trying to remain calm while my brother kept spouting that women belong barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, serving their husbands and family. Brother-in-law disagreed and it came to the point where my brother was getting frustrated and blurted out, "Come on, like you don't ever think about hitting sister's name occasionally." And brother-in-law replied with, "Fucking Christ, no wonder you can't keep a wife or your kids around." This ended the family dinner and now my parents are fuming. Brother-in-law and sister went home and so did me and my husband. My parents demanded my sister break up with brother-in-law and that he apologize to our brother. However, I've made it very clear I'm on brother-in-law's side. My husband wants to cut contact with my brother. My sister is distraught. Brother-in-law doesn't give a fuck and probably forgot it's even happened. My mother and father have yelled at me about loyalty and how I'm an awful sister and disappointment of a daughter. I don't know what to do. Am I the arsehole here? Oh no, we're going down the but family route, aren't we? Welsh Wicked Witch says, also your brother deliberately kept needling your brother-in-law to get him to say anything remotely what they would consider inflammatory, but I would consider much deserved, so that your parents and brother had justification to jump up and down, frothing at the mouth, reason to demand your sister bins brother-in-law. They want an argument, and it wouldn't matter how perfect brother-in-law is or was. If he doesn't fit their twisted ideals, then he's out. Now they use this to harangue your sister, brother-in-law, and you. I would urge your sister to be aware of this abuse and control. Do they play these games with you and your husband? Not the arsehole. I also agree with your husband. Your family, apart from sister, brother-in-law, are all colors of the rainbow wrong. Cut them off. Opie says, to be honest, they don't care about my husband and I's relationship. The reason they loathe brother-in-law is because, like I mentioned, he's in the media quite often for things he and his organization are doing. My mum had googled him and the first thing that popped up was him just slamming Christianity and conservatives, so ever since then they've been looking for every excuse in the book to get my sister to break up with him. I love him though. He treats my sister well and she's happy, so I can't complain about him. OP comes in with their first update and says, I know it's soon for an update, but after posting and reading your guys' comments, I did decide to reach out to ex-sister-in-law last night. I'm not going to go into detail, but a vague summary of there was a lot of sexual and physical abuse throughout their relationship. How she was able to get the kids was my brother signed away as parental rights as long as she didn't out him for the things he had done to her. She admitted she went to my parents a few years ago, and they just told her God will lead her through this. My brother has taken to posting on Facebook about how my sister is a gold-digging whore and my brother-in-law is a freak of nature sent by Satan himself to ruin his life. Also threatened to send pictures of brother-in-law with our new family to news outlets and expose his personal life, and all brother-in-law replied was, I already get death threats, so you're just going to open the door to your family getting those same threats if you do that. To which my brother again posted on Facebook about how God is testing his patience. Brother-in-law sent my brother a lengthy text telling him to never come near my sister again, and that he disgusted how he encouraged him to hit her and all that. My husband also sent him a text saying from here on out he doesn't want my brother near me or our daughter unless he's present because he now worries for our safety. Brother ran to my parents and my parents flew off the handle. They bombarded us with texts and calls about how we're shitty sisters and even shittier daughters, and now we're all uninvited from the Easter party. Lol. That's how my morning has been going. I'm exhausted. I'm sure there's going to be more to unfold and transpire, but that's what's happening for now. ETA, got to add, my sister-in-law is coming into town to stay with my husband and I, so we can see the kids and her. I'm absolutely disgusted with my brother and parents. I will be going low contact and possibly no contact with them soon. Couple of relevant comments before the next update. Hungry Composer says, oh no, not the Easter party. And says, sounds like you might have enough outcast to have your own Easter party where no one needs to worry about anyone's safety. Hoopy says, nobody even enjoys the Easter party, it's just a clusterfuck every single year, so I'm not too hurt about it. Typical Management says, edit, glad sister is supporting partner. OP clarified sister's actions, but leaving comments below for posterity. If I'm reading things correctly, I have issues with your sister here too. From what you've written, what is her role in all of this? Is she saying or do anything or leaving it all up to her partner to deal with? That's her family treating her partner terribly, and she should be just as protective of him as he is of her. She needs to find her spine and deal with her family. You don't subject your partner to the things her partner has had to endure with her family without fighting back with them. I would go, and have gone ham, including blasting my brother publicly since he wants to play that game and cutting contact, on my family treating my friends and or partner like what I've just read. And, you know, OP did clear it up in the edit at the beginning of that post as well. OP says, no, I'm sorry I left a few things out because I didn't want it to be lengthy. My sister is very protective of her boyfriend. One of the many reasons my parents don't like him is because they think he's turned her against them because she's so protective. And while they were debating that night, she was trying to get our brother to stop and kept trying to interfere, thus led to his comment of hitting her. My sister used to be very obedient, I guess, but ever since she started dating him, she's definitely grown a spine. Update 2. Okay, before I get into all the drama, hope you all had a wonderful Easter because we absolutely did. It was so much fun. It was me, my husband, sister and brother-in-law, ex-sister-in-law, my daughter and sister-in-law's kids. It was drama-free and just a great time. So I'm going to break down some of the things that happened so it's not too lengthy. 1. Mum and dad called for a welfare check on my sister and claimed brother-in-law was beating her. Police found nothing, so nothing happened. 2. Brother is claiming brother-in-law is a pedo. His proof? My daughter prefers being around brother-in-law instead of him. He made a Facebook post. It was quite wordy, but to break it down, brother-in-law is a creep in brother's eyes, for coloring with my daughter and letting her sit on his lap. Whenever my brother would hug my daughter or hold her, she would literally squirm and squeal until he let her go, and she'd go and sit with brother-in-law or her dad. He just made himself look terrible. 3. Brother left brother-in-law a very disturbing voicemail. I don't want to go into detail in fear of this post being deleted, but he was basically threatening his life and my sister's life too, so the police have gotten involved in that. He's been a bit stressful. There's a bunch of other things that have happened, but those are all the main things. I'll probably make another post, but I'm just pooped right now, and people have been messaging and asking for an update. Hope you all had a great Easter and wonderful time with your loved ones. After all, why are the parents backing up the brother in this situation? I mean, even if he's like the golden child of the family, why would you pick him? It's just that it sounds like a weird thing to say, but I just like, what? And the dude's spouting off about God and all this sort of stuff on social media, yet he's just like the biggest asshole himself. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.